I'm Nick. I own Aux Jeux. This is MTG Commander. We're talking about some EDH decks. We're going to talk about my EDH deck, which is down there. I run a mono white deck with my general being Rune-Tail, Kitsune Ascendant. It's a flip general. It's very different. Not something you see every day. He's a 2/2. When you have 30 life, he flips. And when he flips, he's an enchantment. He's no longer a creature. And he prevents all damage to creatures I control at all times. It's freaking brilliant. Annoys a lot of people. And of course, he's 3 mana, and he comes out almost immediately on turn 3, and he's normally out for most of the game. Blah, blah, blah. Alright, and here we have the artifacts in my deck. The bottom 5 you'll see here are pretty much key staples in most EDH decks. I'm not going to go into much details of them because they're pretty much self-explanatory. The top 5, however, are pretty much things I run in my EDH deck because I need them to. On the left here we have Planar Portal. It's basically a tutor for 6, and being mono white, I do not have many tutors. So with this out, it really allows me to cycle through my deck really quickly. Argentum Armor, +6/+6, and I get to blow something up. Again, white lacks a lot of things that other colors do. This allows me to get a big beat stick out there and blow key things away. Pariah Shield, because my creatures don't take damage, this basically allows me to lock people out from hurting me from any reason. And it will just keep cycling until the damage is done. Very, very key card in my deck, and I go get it pretty much whenever I can. Queta Spike. One of the cards I'm thinking of removing for later if I find something better. But giving a creature Death Touch, especially when I can block without taking damage. And the fact is when I can get a sneak hit in and just rip someone apart for half their life, is just very, very key. Again, in a deck where I'm not aggro based, I'm very, very patient and I take my time. Then we've got Sculpting Steel. Something that I think most decks should run, basically being there are too many available targets everywhere. Whether it being my own Soul Ring or my own Boots or my own Top to other people's key artifacts that they run in their deck, it basically allows me a lot of options. And here are my instants. To begin with, we have Swords of Plowshare and Path to Exile, staples in every white, self-explanatory in what they do. Then we've got Dawn Charm. I personally think Dawn Charm is a staple in every mono-white EDH deck. For 2 mana, it does too much for a single card at instant speed, either being the Fog effect, the Regenerate effect, or the counter spell that targets you. It's just too useful to get rid of. I've tried cutting it about 6 or 7 different times, and it keeps coming back. It's just that useful. Oblation. I do run a bunch of token creatures in my deck, so it's an easy way for card draw. And at the last resort, it's a way to just get rid of a problem. And at the end of the day, I don't care about 2 cards, especially when you're playing other colors. There's lots of cards coming at you. It's just very, very, very key in my deck. Disenchant. There are bad artifacts and bad enchantments. It's 2, it's fast, it's easy. Return to Dust, better version of Disenchant. Remove up to 2 artifacts or enchantments from the game. I think this should also be a staple in every mono-white EDH deck, and in many decks that splash white. The fact is, at instant speed you can remove 1, at sorcery you can remove 2. It's just, sometimes there are things you have to get rid of, and this is one of the best ways. Enlightened Tutor, very, very good card. Searching for an artifact or an enchantment that you need. There's not a lot of tutoring in white. Try and get every single piece you can, and this is definitely one of them. We got my sorceries. The bottom 6 are your general board wipes: Wrath of God, Day of Judgment, Hallowed Burial, Martial Coup, Phyrexian Rebirth, Final Judgment. Final Judgment is absolutely key in EDH. Please run it. RFGing everything is just too important. The rest of them, the only other really different one is Hallowed Burial. It's great for throwing generals at the bottom of people's decks and laughing at them. Up top, we've got Austere Command. Very, very, very important board wipe because you can just take out too many things. I generally don't like destroying my own enchantments, but sometimes you just have to. Ideally Tutor, again, white doesn't have many tutors. Use all the ones you can, and this one's straight to your hand, so it's really, really effective. And here are my enchantments for this deck. I've got running quite a few right now. They all have their specific purposes. We try to divide them up into 3 generic groups. The bottom is pretty much utility, trying to figure out what we can do with them and how they each work. Endless Horizons in the left and land tax are basically mana fixing, trying to make sure my lands can come out. Now, Endless Horizons, I normally don't take out all my lands, depending on who I'm playing. I generally go for about 10 to 12. It's basically, when it comes out, I know I have enough time that it's not going to matter, and if I lose them, I don't care. Also, I get to thin up my deck, so I'm getting cards I need faster. Same with land tax, just filtering your lands. O-Ring is O-Ring. Pariah. Pariah is the same issue as Pariah Shield, or maybe you'll see later, Weathered Bodyguards. It's another one, because my creatures don't take damage, I can throw that around anywhere I need to, and I don't take damage, or I can throw it onto a key enemy creature and just knock it out. Greater Auramancy. It's Greater Auramancy. I think if you're running enchantments, you should always be running Greater Auramancy. Luminarch Ascension. One of my key generators of creatures. When I don't take damage, this thing gets its triggers, and I get my counters on it, and then I start spitting out angels to the annoyance of everybody. And it works very well with the cards right above it, True Conviction. Creatures get double strike and lifelink. So basically I'm getting lots of life, and they're losing it, and I don't really have to worry about it. Armored Ascension, +1/+1 for every plane I control and flying. Key for a lot of my cards that don't have flying. It has been game winners many times. Spirit Loop, my guy gets lifelink. Really useful. Because I'm not very aggressive, I have to sit back and just gain life and hold out. Light from Within and Marshal's Anthem do the generic increasing of stats for my creatures, but I also use Marshal's Anthem a lot to get back creatures that have been killed. White does not have that much recursion, so this is, for me, a key card. The top here we have Ghostly Prison, again, just to slow them down. Same with Prison Term, it's just to slow them down and stop a key creature. Now we have Karmic Justice, one of my favorite cards. Basically, whenever somebody blows something up of mine, I get to blow something up of theirs. It really is a great equalizer because it stops people from doing very bad things to you because they know they're going to lose things, especially lands. You can really slow them down quickly. And if you have a lot of enchantments down and do a lot of removal, you can just take out their entire land base. Lane Line is Lane Line, great first turn, and no matter what, they can't target you with spells or abilities. It just protects you non-stop. Sacred Ground, there's a lot of land destruction running around, and I've basically found that this is just a good way around it, especially coupled with Karmic Justice. They're not going to take it out right away, so you normally have some time to play with that thing. Here we have my